Welcome into the Quest Number 9 podcast. We're going to do an instant reaction today about Kentucky's big win versus Tennessee, where Kentucky was able to overcome a big deficit early on, where Kentucky was not able to get anything going, down as many as 17 early in the game, down 11 at halftime, but was able to outscore this Tennessee team by 19 points in the second half, where Kentucky really was able to get anything they wanted on the offensive end and just was not able to create a whole lot for themselves in the first half. But the second half was very much more efficient and was more complete from the Cats, where Kentucky ended up shooting the game 46% from three, making 11 threes. That's back-to-back games where Kentucky shot the three ball really, really well and was able to hold Tennessee in the second half to only 7 attempts, where this Tennessee team shot 42%, really high percentage, really strong performance from them, but overall just was not able to hang strong for the Volunteers in this game compared to Kentucky, where Kentucky had multiple strong performances from guys like Denzel Aberdeen, who had 22 points, Otega Owe, who had a slow start, only shot 3 for 11. He had 12 points, a lot of those coming in the second half. Kentucky was able to overcome, like I said, that deficit and was able to overcome some of the rebounding lows, being out-rebounded by quite a bit in certain sections. End up getting out-rebounded by 7, but only got out-rebounded on the offensive end by 2. So Kentucky was really able to hold on to the possessions and maximize their opportunities in that game for the Wildcats. Kentucky was really able to get downhill a lot in this game, create quite a bit of fouls, shot 21 free throws, was only able to make 13 of those. That was one big reason the Wildcats were down in the second half quite a bit. But Tennessee also struggled, shooting 20 of 29, where Tennessee missed their last free throw intentionally. So that changed their percentage a little bit, but still shot sub 70%. But both teams shot it really well from the field, shooting 47%. But this really comes down to the Cats having the effort, the intensity, the energy to overcome this deficit in the first half, having two different guys play almost 30 minutes. Otega Owe, who was not his true self in this game, really, he played 31 minutes. Denzel Aberdeen, who was really, really good in this game, had played 29 minutes. He had 22 points, was 7 for 11 from the field, 3 for 6 from three, and really was overall Kentucky's best player and the guy that we put the ball in his hands at the end of the game that made the right pass. He had 2 assists, 0 turnovers. One of the big reasons that Kentucky was in this hole early in this game was he had to set most of the first half with 2 fouls, and he was Kentucky's engine of their offense early on in this game, allowing the Wildcats to elevate themselves to really where they wanted to be and control the pace of the game how they wanted to be, and really was able to set the tone for the Wildcats in the second half as Kentucky was able to cut the lead in the second half to cut it going into halftime to 11. Had opportunities to get it to single digits, but did not capitalize in the first half, but was able to, in the second half, keep it within 6 going into the 15-minute mark. And it was like a 4-point game for most of the second half, and Kentucky was able to have enough of an offensive game to capitalize and be able to win this game by 2 and have the lead going into the final under a minute, where Colin Chandler had a big steal and was able to put the Wildcats up. And Kentucky was able to get a big offensive rebound at the end and was able to get the rebounds that they really needed to against a elite level offensive rebounding team in Tennessee that really had a strong performance, I felt like, in this game. but Kentucky was able to shoot the ball well enough, shooting 46%, still shooting 47% from the field, and really was able to control the pace of the game. Had some missed shots on the interior, but still shot the ball really well. And we had a couple breakout, consistent performances from guys like Jasper Johnson, Colin Chandler. Colin Chandler and Jasper Johnson combined for 24 points, with Colin Chandler having 12, 4 for 6 from the field, and all those coming from three, having 3 rebounds, 2 assists. Jasper Johnson, he played 19 minutes. He had 12 points, 5 for 6 from the field, 2 for 3 from three, had 2 rebounds, 4 assists, only 1 turnover. Had a 4-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, was really solid in this game, gave Kentucky energy, was really high energy for the Wildcats, and allowed this Kentucky team to stay in it at times in the first half, where he was the only one giving Kentucky offensive production and was able to allow the Cats to maximize their chances in the first half, giving the Cats only being down 11, where Kentucky could have been down much more in the first half, being down 17 at certain points. Andre Yelovich, a guy that I'm very high on, he only played 12 minutes. Pretty much all of those came in the first half. He had 5 points, 2 for 4 from the field, 1 for 1 from three, 1 rebound, 1 assist. Really kind of struggled with some of Tennessee's physicality and really came out with some energy, but was not what we were hoping for. But Mo Diabate came in and gave Kentucky a lot of energy, having 10 points, 6 rebounds, tied for the most on the team. He was also the leading scorer for the interior guys for our 4s and 5s, because Malachi only gave us 3, Yelovich gave us 5, and Garrison only gave us 2 in his 18 minutes. So overall, I thought Kentucky, perimeter-wise, outside of the end, Ortega really wasn't able to overcome some of his shooting struggles and just inability to get downhill and finish through contact. They were really physical overall. And Cam Williams, he only played 15 minutes, but really struggled. 1 for 4 from the floor, 0 for 2 from three, with 2 boards, 1 assist, and had 2 turnovers. He had a really nice look to start the game from 3. It was a really good look from him to be able to capitalize on a early look early in the game, first possession, but the Cats were not able to capitalize on their opportunities. And Kentucky just was not able to push themselves over the top early on in this game, but was able to capitalize on Tennessee's mistakes and Tennessee's steals when Kentucky really felt like it was more of a toss-up game, and Kentucky was able to have a couple steals like they have in some of these past games against LSU and against Mississippi State. They were able to create some steals and create some easy opportunities for themselves when they had struggled early on in the game to create a rhythm, create good looks for themselves. Otega Owe, he didn't have his best shooting performance from 3 in this game like he has in past games where he shot the ball really, really well. He went 1 for 5. Most of those were pretty good looks. He had a couple of 4 shots, I felt like, from 3. But Kentucky got to that shooting volume that I like, and the makes. When you have the combination of that, this can be a really, really good Kentucky team. Tennessee came out hot, shooting the 3 ball really well, but did not shoot a lot of 3s in the second half. Only shot 8, where they shot 11 in the first half, and Kentucky was able to capitalize on their inefficiency at times, and it neutralized some of that rebounding advantage and get rebounds at good times. Like we had that rebound off the free throw that really allowed Kentucky to put themselves in a good situation, drive to the rack, and allow Kentucky to get the big-time finish and the 3-point lead, putting Kentucky in a spot where they had to foul or they had to miss free throws intentionally. So Kentucky was able to put themselves in a good spot down the stretch, unlike they did early in the game where we had some defensive lapses, lack of physicality, inability to rebound early in the game and just not making shots and not making shots in the right time, allowing for easy, like I said, opportunities for Tennessee in transition. And Kentucky was able to hold Natum in early in the game. Guy that we talked about is really talented, high upside guy for this Tennessee team. He had 17 points, but only had 2 points in the first half. And Kentucky was able to stifle his offense early on, but he got into rhythm. Was 1 for 2 from three, 4 for 7 from the field, but he was able to capitalize on some downhill drives. And when they broke our press, he had a couple dunks. He dunked on Malachi Moreno pretty bad, and that allowed them to really capitalize on some of their advantages against the Wildcats and attack Kentucky in transition and get the easy buckets and the easy opportunities. Outside of in this rotation, the guy that played the least amount of minutes, Trent Noah, came in when we were in foul trouble. He played 3 minutes, really didn't have anything of sort production-wise in that time. But other than him, Kentucky played 9 guys. He was the 10th man. Really, everyone else I thought gave us some production. Brandon Garrison didn't look like it a lot on the box score, but he did give us good energy, good physicality, and was a good body while Malachi was able to sit when he had foul trouble and when Modi Abate also had foul trouble. I felt like Kentucky was able to get themselves in a rhythm, and with his switchability and his lateral quickness against some of these really good Tennessee guards like Gillespie, who really hurt Kentucky in this game. He had 24 points. He had 14 of those in the first half, and he had 8 assists, 2 rebounds. We were able to force him to have 4 turnovers, but overall, he was very good in this game. Shot the ball really well, 6 for 12 from the field, 4 for 7 from 3. But 14 of those, like I said, came in the first half. Kentucky was able to limit him as much as we could in the second half, allowing Natum to have some easy opportunities in transition. Came from his offense, but Kentucky was able to complete the comeback like they have the last couple games, only allowing Tennessee to score 36 points in the second half. Typically, if a team has a really good offensive first half, that carries over once you get in a rhythm, once you get an offense, and you usually score more points in the second half than you did the first. This was not with Tennessee. They only scored 36 points in the second half, where Kentucky scored 49 compared to Kentucky's 31 first half points. And overall, this Kentucky team did not get a whole lot of production from the front court, but was able to maximize with some of their perimeter guards really stepping up, having 5 guys in double figures, and one of those being Modi Abate. I think Kentucky was able to rally back. And this was one of the games that everybody thought if Kentucky got down big again, they could not get back in it with this really good Tennessee defense combined with a pretty good Tennessee offense. But Kentucky was able to come back and take advantage. Some of those early little mistakes, a lot of fouling, and got ourselves in early foul trouble. If we can keep out of that, I think this game would have been a lot closer. Tennessee had a big 11-0 run that really put Kentucky in a hole in that first half that Kentucky was not able to maximize from and not take advantage of. And we'll see if the Cats can cut down on that coming up in the future. I'm going to go back and rewatch the game later, and I'll have a new episode coming out tomorrow about this big Kentucky win and Kentucky's upcoming games versus Texas and what's to come. And that's all from the Quest Number 9 podcast. My name is Seth Warner. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. And you can go find me at Quest Number 9 on Instagram and Twitter to stay up to date for when I post new episodes. I have a post on there every time I do. So go Cats, and I'll see you next time.